Hey guys, what's up? This is Falsebooles123, and this is day 61 of our daily quarantine challenge. So, I know it's finally arrived. It is officially our newest music corner. I was going to do this last week, but then I'm just like, I didn't feel ready enough for it. We've just been dealing with a lot of life stuff lately, and so it was a little hard to actually sit down and really, I guess, appreciate music for what it is. And I'm working on that. Like, sometimes it is hard to get in front of the camera every day and actually make content, but I do it as a form of release. I do it as a form of escapism, and I think that, sometimes you just have to, sort of run into it and try to find a place where you're happy in creation, you know? Anyway, so pretty much my idea for this music corner was I was listening to probably one of my new favorite bands. I tend to listen to a lot of different styles of music, and so when I discover a band I really like the sound of, it's definitely high up there in my favorites list for the moment. And that is called Girlwood. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Grlwood, Girlwood. And they're basically, I'm not going to get too into the description just because I want, we're going to be getting to that further into the video. Pretty much, they're a band, they're fantastic, and I'm thinking this is really good. And from the sound of it, it sounded really much like what I would think Riot GRRL, the genre, would sound like. But I never really listened to the genre, so I wasn't sure. And people who are not me are like, Ryan, what the fuck is Riot GRRL? You're just making up these band genres. And I'm just like, bitch, I am not. Nobody needs help making up band genres. There are too many. But what is Riot GRRL before, you leave this video in exasperation? Riot GRRL is a feminist punk rock, subgenre that grew in the 1990s out of, Olympia County, Washington. I believe that's the area. And basically, it was pretty much just a subgenre of punk rock that was really popular during the 90s. It was very niche for, as genres go, but there was a good amount of bands in it, and it was mostly seen as a way for, third-wave feminists to actually sort of express a lot of the issues with sex and gender and, sexuality, through the power of punk rock music. And so there's a lot of screaming and anger, but there's also a lot of really interesting, feminine perspective and, female-oriented lyrics. And so it's a pretty interesting, genre in that sense, because it's interesting, to say the least. Now, I didn't get as far into the genre as I wanted to. I really listened that I was able to listen to more bands from it, but I realized to myself, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. And that's kind of just how this week is going. So I have 3 bands. 2 of them are very strongly Riot GRRL, and the other one is more Riot GRRL influenced. It's more second generation, if you will. So let's start off with the band that actually got me into making this video, right? Girlwood. So what exactly is Girlwood? Basically, it was this musical duo, and they don't call themselves Riot GRRL. They're one of those bands that's it's a little bit like T.O.P. They're not quite meshing into a perfect genre description. But I've seen a few descriptions. They've been listed as screamo. They've been listed as queercore, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. And, a few other things. Best description for me, I would say Riot GRRL meets Cake Baked Betty. They have this very strong punk influence, and the feminist lyrics are very reminiscent of a lot of the earlier bands, but the musical style brings on, the screaming vocals with a lot of more, I guess, alt or dream pop sort of aesthetics. Not dream pop so much as an instrumentation, but more in melody, if that makes sense. So a lot of the songs are very soft, melodies with these, very, needing, rhythm guitar that just loops over and is very relaxing, but then you have these really intense lyrics. And so, pretty much that's the best way I can describe it sound-wise, in regards to the genre. Let's talk about what I really liked about the album. The album I listened to from Girlwood was I Sold My Soul to the Devil when I was 12. Here's a picture of the cover. I know, that's edgy, but it was a really good album. There's a lot of emotion and power in the album, which I really enjoyed, and it also, covered a lot of, really interesting topics, and you can tell that it was supposed to be it was supposed to have, this sexual vibe to it. It was supposed to have all of these, really deep concepts, while also just being really good punk music. Like, not so much like older punk, but like the sort of more modern punk that I'm used to, I guess. So I'm going to list my 2 favorite songs from it just because I'm not, like, I don't have like too much to say about the albums this time, but I'm just going to get on with it, yeah. So the 2 favorite songs I listen to on it is I'm Having Sex Tonight, which basically just starts with this like really nice melody. It goes doon, doo doo, doo doon, doo doo, doon doon, doo doo, doon doon. And you're just like vibing to that. And then it's just like some nice screaming, like the 3 minute mark, and you're just like, ooh baby, like that's zesty, because it's zesty. And then the other one I really enjoyed was No Tongue, and it's like, we can kiss, da da da, and there's like some rhythm tongue, but with no tongue. And pretty much it's just like the lyrics are talking about this really toxic relationship, and I'm just like, dang girl. Weirdly enough, it actually reminded me of this Tumblr post I was reading about like, this girl's really toxic relationship, and if I find it, I will post it up here where you can actually like read it yourself, because the lyrics are really reminiscent. For like a second I'm thinking, did she take the lyrics from this? Because like, dang girl, but no, it was just 2 really separate interpretations of a very similar situation, and I'm just like, dang. Moving on, we get into actual Riot GRRL, and that is pretty strong contender for the genre, Bikini Kill, and I listened to the album Pussy Whipped, because I mean, like, that name, like, why wouldn't you not listen to an album named Pussy Whipped? Like, ooh baby. So, sound description. I would probably, like, kind of imply Joan Jett meets, like, Pussy Riot, right? Which sounds weird. But you get a lot of this very 80s rock and roll sort of feel, like, very heavy, like, guitar orchestration. But, like, then you get a lot of... Mostly it's... I know a lot of people dislike the phrase screamo, but it's a lot of very loud, very intense screaming vocals, which it is incredibly hardcore. Out of most of the music I've listened to, I think Bikini Kill is probably one of the hardest bands I have listened to. And I'll listen to, like, some pretty strong, like, I don't listen to death metal, but I do listen to horror punk. And so it's like, as bands go, Bikini Kill is very, very hardcore. I did manage to enjoy a few of their songs, but for the most part, the album was just much too hard for my taste. And I feel like that is really a disservice to say, but it's true. It's just, I don't really enjoy, like, too hard music, just in the same time, like, I'm not really the biggest vibe in, like, really soft music, like, incredible, like, lo-fi, where it's just almost, like, your pulse slows down to you practically, like, dead is, like, so slow, but I enjoyed it for the most part. It was also just really hard to kind of grasp the music at the same time. I think it's definitely an interesting band to listen to, and I think you should give it a chance, because obviously we're going to have different opinions, but it just was not for me. That being said, I did pick 2 songs that I liked, and definitely for Tammy Rae, I really enjoyed. I liked it because it was a slower song. It was a lot more accessible of their music, and I vibed with that. And then there was Starfish, which I don't remember much about. I mostly just kind of chose it because when I, like, saw the name, it reminded me of that book called Starfish, which I have not read, but I've heard people talking about it, so, like, I just have a sort of memory association. And, yeah, I don't really have much to say about that album either. So moving on, I listened to the third band, and I'd originally planned to listen to 4 bands, GRRL and then 3 others, and Pussy Riot to give a good taste of the genre. I just didn't have time and really energy, so sorry about that, guys. If you want me to ever redo this this music corner, like, somewhere down the line where I can actually have good opinions about things, let me know down below in the comments. I'm trying my best, but this is probably kind of like the one that I fell in, if I'm being honest. Now, I'm going to stop shitting on myself and actually tell you about the third album. So this was by the band 7 Year Bitch, which, that name is lovely. I love that. That's great. That's zesty, okay? And it was their album Gato Negro. Pretty sure it's Gato Negro. It might be Gata Negra. I'm not sure with the feminine and the masculine. And if you don't know what that means Black Cat in Spanish. So, What's up with Shot Noir? I'm just teasing. Pretty much, if I'm listening to it, I've seen a few people, let's see, call 7 Year Bitch a grunge band, and I think that's actually pretty accurate. You definitely have a lot of the grunge aesthetic over the vocals. The lead singer, for some reason, reminds me of Daria from, like, the animated show by the same name. And I don't think, like, the lyrics do, just, like, the voice kind of, like, had that sort of, like, deep, very sort of monotone, like, feminine voice it's nice. It sounds good. I like the music. I liked it a lot more than Bikini Kill, and it's like, if that was my first introduction to Riot GRRL, I probably would be really, really into it if I was, like, in the 90s. And so it has some great intense moments, but it also has enough time to actually develop some melody with the guitars and everything else, while also being still fairly grunge. I don't have too much to say about the album, so I'm just going to slip into my top 2 favorite songs from the album. And that was 24,900 miles an hour. Oh, per hour. And I don't really have any description for the song. I just really, really enjoyed it. And then Disillusion, which I thought was pretty good. I liked the way there was enjambment between the lyrics, and just the way it flowed was probably one of my favorites from the album. I didn't really make as much of an impression with the last 2 albums in this video, but I did really like Girlwood, so I'm definitely going to check out probably their first album. I know I think they only have 2 or 3 albums out, because I'm pretty sure the band dismantled, whatever the word. I'm pretty sure they're no longer together due to some really terrible shit that happened between some of the members, and I'm not going to talk about it on here because I don't do band gossip. I really try to separate, the music I listen to from the creators, and there's obviously a whole bunch of debate whether you should do that, but definitely, you can look that up and you can see what I'm talking about, you have Google. And so I'm going to definitely probably listen to, a few of the other, songs, and I'll probably give 7 Year Bitch, another listen to as well. Like I said, Bikini Kill just wasn't really my favorite. It was much too hardcore for my taste. But I'll probably, definitely give him the name. I'll probably actually incorporate it into some of my D&D campaign, just because it does have a really good emotional intensity that I can definitely work with for scoring. Anyway, guys, this is just going to be a really short, kind of really bland video, because I don't really have much to say. Giving you a few updates on my life. I just finished, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. So I'll talk about that during the wrap-up, hopefully sometime next month. And besides that, yeah, that's really all I have to do today. I had some shit to do today. I have, a lot of errands I have to run. So I'm going to cut this close just because I want to do some editing today as well. And I hope you have a good one, okay? I want you to stay safe. I want you to wash your hands. It is a crazy fucking world up there. And we don't need that shit, And otherwise, yeah, please have a good day. Listen to some music you like. Do something that makes you happy. Tell your loved ones that you love them and all that bullshit. This is going to be Falsebooles123, and I'm signing off.